Ambassador Hilario G. Davida Jr., Acting UN Resident Coordinator and World Health Organization Country Representative Dr. Sonia Liu, Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, General Jaime de los Santos, Director Rodolfo Tor, officers of the National Peace Operations Council, officers from the Armed Forces and National Police, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We observe today the International Day of United Nations Peacekeepers to honor the memory of the fallen, the close to 3,000 men and women from all over the world who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the service of peace. I'm deeply honored to lead this year's commemoration here in Manila of this important event, and thank each and every one of you for joining me in remembering the 2,990 peacekeepers who have given up their lives since the United Nations embarked on its first mission to help keep the peace 65 years ago. Like most other troop and police contributing countries, the Philippines has lost several of its own while fulfilling its obligation as a member of the United Nations to help in the maintenance of international peace and security. A total of 22 Filipino military, police, and civilian personnel have perished over the years while helping the United Nations keep the peace in conflict areas as near as Cambodia and East Timor to as far as the Sudan and Haiti. We remember today our 22 fallen heroes, most especially Joseph Ubaldo, one of the UN Stabilization Mission in Hawaii, and Charles Uy of the UN Organization's Stabilization Mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, who are among the 112 men and women peacekeepers who died in the line of duty last year as a result of acts of violence, accidents, and disease. The International Day of UN Peacekeepers is not only about the fallen, it is also about those who were left behind, the thousands of other men and women from 116 member states of the United Nations, including the Philippines, who served and continue to serve in the cause of peace. On this day, we also pay tribute to the more than 120,000 peacekeepers currently serving in 17 UN mission areas who work selflessly with great courage and under the most difficult of conditions to help lay the foundations for peace and security in conflict areas of the globe. Today, we also take this opportunity to salute our own peacekeepers from the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police, both past and present, who brought pride and honor to the country and our people for serving under the blue and white standard of the United Nations. Hundreds of men and women from the Armed Forces and the National Police have served in UN mission areas since the first Filipino peacekeepers were deployed 50 years ago. Manila's involvement in peacekeeping operations began in December 1962, when then UN Secretary General Dag Hammarskjöld called on the Philippines to join other member states in supporting the ongoing UN operations in the Congo. Then President Diosdado Macapagal heeded that call and immediately committed the 9th Tactical Fighter Squadron of the Philippine Air Force. The unit, popularly known as the Limbas Squadron, was made up of 6 Canadian-made F-86E Sabre jets and 44 men under Lieutenant Colonel Jose Rancudo. The Limbas Squadron spent 4 months in Katanga, where it flew reconnaissance flights to support Israeli peacekeepers on the ground. Filipino squadron also flew persuasion flights alongside Iranian and Swedish air units that were also serving under the UN. The Philippines has gone a long way since then, contributing hundreds of so-called blue helmets to help in our collective quest for global peace and security. After the initial stint in the Congo, Filipino peacekeepers proudly served alongside their counterparts from other troop and police contributing countries in areas such as Cambodia, Iraq, Haiti, Afghanistan, Burundi, Kosovo, Georgia, and Nepal. The Philippine commitment to UN peacekeeping is underscored by the presence of 922 military and police personnel serving as military observers, staff officers, police officers, and members of formed contingents in Côte d'Ivoire, Darfur, the Golan Heights, Haiti, Kashmir, Liberia, South Sudan, and Timor-Leste. Our contribution to peacekeeping does not end there. The Philippines had also been given the honor to occupy leadership positions in the UN operations. The head of Mission and Force Commander of the United Nations Peace Engagement Observer Force in the Golan Heights is a Filipino, Major General Natalio Carba III of the Philippine Marine Corps. Another Filipino, General Jaime de los Santos of the Philippine Army, had served as Force Commander of the UN Transitional Authority in East Timor, earning for himself the distinction of being the first Filipino to head a UN peacekeeping force. Still, another Filipino, Director Rodolfo Tor of the Philippine National Police, had served as UN Police Commissioner, also in Timor-Leste. Several military and police officers have also been given the opportunity to serve with the Department of Peacekeeping Operations at the UN headquarters in New York. Our peacekeepers have brought pride and honor to our country and our people. We commend their selfless efforts to carry out the mandate of their respective peacekeeping missions. Their service and contributions will never be forgotten, for they have shown commitment beyond the call of duty, courage in the face of adversity, and endurance in the face of pain and death. Our peacekeepers have proven themselves worthy of the respect and recognition, not only of their fellow Filipinos, but also by the members of the communities in the conflict areas where they have served, whose lives they have touched. Our commemoration of the International Day of the UN Peacekeepers will not be complete without the renewed commitment of the National Council for United Nations Peace Operations to exert further efforts to strengthen the country's peacekeeping capacity to allow it to continue to meet existing and future UN requirements. I'm thankful to my predecessor, former Secretary Alberto G. Romulo, who set the vision for the Philippine peacekeeping during his watch as chair. The Philippines, the Council shall continue charting the Philippine peacekeeping roadmap that will provide a strategic direction for our participation in UN operations. Our resources may be limited, but this should not prevent us from strengthening our peacekeeping partnership with the United Nations and other like-minded member states. Our vision is not only to expand our participation in UN peace operations by deploying more personnel, but to also be effective in our participation by ensuring that the personnel we contribute are properly trained and equipped. In closing, and on behalf of the Philippine peacekeeping community, I wish to again express our appreciation to all of you for joining in this morning's commemoration.